basically is finding myself, finding my purpose for life, self-discovery, understanding exactly what I was born to do, which is um, to do godly, to do leadership development, to inspire leaders. Once I found it, every other thing is history. First things first is find that thing that makes you happy, makes you excited, makes you very committed to fight for a cause. Once you find that thing, you'll be the best you can ever be. So for me, is that self-discovery. A lot of people today have not discovered themselves. Some of them are 50, 60. They've not discovered themselves. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they are born to do. It's unbelievable.
Thank you so much, sir. So on the journey of your self-discovery, just like you said now, what are the things that you did personally to uncover who you are? The things that you did personally or maybe daily or weekly to uncover who you exactly are?
So there's a place for spending time with God. You know, as a young man, I spend a lot of quality time with God, asking questions. What am I so? I gave myself to that pursuit. The vision came when I sat down, and then I took my pen and paper and began to write everything. And in the process of writing everything I could imagine, you know what happened? I found purpose. Very, very. Once I secret is getting things done. The secret is pushing beyond the normal. That was what I did. And in the process of getting things done, I kept failing. And I refused to give up, and I continued to pursue it. The moment, number one, you find your vision, you begin to find associates, people who believe in what you're doing. And no vision can come true until you have groomed people who would work with you, invite people who work with you, build a team of people who believe in your dream. And then you can start executing. It's about execution of your dream. Execution, no matter how little, the moment you learn how to execute, the better that we can become. So many people are talkers, they are not executors. You can't talk your way through to any vision. It's about implementation. It's about getting it done. It's about execution. No matter how small a vision is, even if that goal is to get something done in an hour and you commit that you're going to get it done, get it done. Because we like comfort zone. Get out of the comfort zone and stretch. I began to stretch. I began to grow. I began to relearn. I began to learn. I began to stretch. I began to grow. I began to relearn again. I began to fail. And then I began to relearn again. And I refused to give up. I kept at it. The secret is keeping at it. This is 27 years. 27 years of 27 years. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, it's unbelievable. That's a whole lot of years. Thank you so much, sir. So I want to ask you this: at what point did you uncover who you are? At what point, at what level did you discover, okay, this is what I want to do? At what point in your life?
I've just finished secondary school. I just finished secondary school, and I attended a Bible program called Wolf B with the Living Faith Church. So while I was at Wolf B, there's a particular course called Divine Direction. And when I went through that program, I read through the book of Nehemiah, and I saw how one great man was building leaders, transforming his country, rebuilding his country. And I was inspired, and I decided to say to myself that, wait a minute, this is what I was called to do, to raise leaders for Nigeria. It was when I finished secondary school. And I floated Gotney, Guardians of the Nation International. I floated it right there in Okorie after secondary school, after government secondary school Okorie. And I took it into the university and began to build followers in the university. And that's where it all started before I got into the university. So finding your vision is the most important thing that can ever happen to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. So can you give it us, is there anyone that, one advice you have received from someone that had made a tremendous impact to who you are today? One advice, if there are two, is fine. They have received from someone that had made a tremendous impact to who you are today.
So when I lost my dad in class 3, I was class 3 when I lost my dad. And so I had conversation with a friend of mine who was then attending Federal Government Girls College Okorie. And interestingly, she was a class below me. And we were having a conversation, and I was sharing the story about my how I lost my dad. And you know what she said? She said to me, Linus, a man's life does not consist on the abundance of his possession. A man's life does not consist on the abundance of his possession. That was a changing point for me. That was when I realized that the pursuit of materialism, the craze for materialism, is not what defines your value. Several people could actually own several cars, but they're not valuable to society. Several people can build buildings, enjoy vanity of this life, but they are not valuable. You can even own aircraft and you're not valuable, right? So in a society where people are craving for resources, money, craving for all manner, attention, craving for relevance, and they are fighting for it, claiming for, going for fame, craze for fame, they are fighting for it. In a society like that, right, people must come to their senses to note that a man's life does not consist on the abundance of his possession. A man's life really is consistent with the quality of who he has become. Because you first of all become great, then you do great things. When your sense of values are correct, then you can become influential. You begin to see value from the perspective of becoming a human being that impacts other people. Once you start impacting other people, that's where your value begins to increase. Your value increases because you're bettering the lives of other people. Look at the woman called Evita Peron. Evita Peron was the wife of a former president of Argentina. Evita Peron said something very powerful. She said, my greatest fear is to be forgotten. My greatest fear is to be forgotten. And she gave her entire life as a wife of a president to support pro-poor policies. She gave her life to supporting anything that can increase the lifespan of a poor person. She developed pro-poor policies. If you are sick, she would give a leave allowance to a sick person. Every poor person in Argentina, she had the opportunity to make sure they had good hospitals. But this woman died at the age of 33. The entire country mourned her. The entire nation was in sadness. I'm sure you must have heard this song. Don't cry for me, Argentina. That was Evita Perón, the way they fed the mood in Argentina. In fact, it took many years for her body to be buried. She became a movement of some sort because she left a legacy. A man's life does not consist of the abundance of his possession. So we want to find out how many people have you touched? How many people have you impacted? The skill you have, the value that is in you, have you developed it to be able to bring value to society? What have you brought to the marketplace? 6 packs. 6 packs means nothing in the marketplace. Except the 6 packs is because you are a sports person and you earn with that. Beyond that is nothing. That you have a beautiful face means nothing in the marketplace unless you're probably a model utilizing that for good. So a man's life does not consist, that particular, this is a young girl who was in secondary school. That was transforming for me.
Of course, thank you so much. That was really profound. Really a profound statement there. Thank you so much for elucidating that for us very well as well. So I'd like to ask you this, Arthur. If you are to give me 3 advices to hold in my heart today, what are the things that will be? What are the things that you're going to say to me?
3 advices
that will make 3 advice. If you have to give me 3 advices that will make a tremendous impact in my life today, what are the things?
The first thing is, number 1, become a lunatic for what you believe in. Become a lunatic for what you believe in. When you have discovered yourself, you have found yourself, and you have believed that this is the reason why you were born, give it every shot that you can. Let them call you mad. Give it your heart. Don't do 3 things. Do 1 thing. Let them not say you multitask. No. Do 1 thing. And give your entire life to that 1 thing. And let everybody call you mad. That's the first thing, advice I give to you. Number 2, be consistent with that 1 thing you are doing. Don't drop it after 2 years. Several people start an idea after 3 years, or the idea is not working. The idea stopped working. What happens? They give up. The next day they're doing something else. Consistency is the power of it. For 27 years, I pursued a course. Several times I failed. Several times my weakness showed up. But I refused to give up because it is consistency that is. That's why Bruce Lee said it is better that you practice a skill, a particular move, 1,000 times than practicing 1,000 skills or moves once. The secret is consistency. Number 3 is build a learning system. A learning system. A learning system means that become somebody who does not know anything, who hungers for more. Aristotle, in all his knowledge, went around saying, I know nothing, I know nothing, I know nothing. So when you know nothing, you can learn from everybody. You can learn through pursuit of knowledge, through books. You can learn from mentors, from here. You can search for knowledge from afar. You can learn from your environment. You can learn by observation. You can learn by reflection. You can learn through thorough thinking. You can learn from others, friends, colleagues. You can learn from babies. You can learn from everybody around you. You can learn.
Thank you so much, sir.
A big difference.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, sir. I'd like to ask you this. I love the way you said that word consistent and one should be focused on a particular course. And what comes to my mind whenever your name is mentioned is leadership. If I just hear Linus Okorie, what comes to my mind is leadership. There's nothing else but it's leadership that comes to my mind. And I'd like to ask you, what's the best way to lead? Is it through the head or through the heart?
So it depends on the model of leadership that you are playing with, right? But the best way to lead, is a merger between the heart and the head. There has to be a merger. So there are 4 elements that plays when you lead from a transformational point of view. Number 1 is vision intelligence. You must understand vision intelligence. Number 2 is values intelligence, where values guide your decision-making process. Number 3 is executive intelligence, where your capacity to apply critical thinking to your decision-making process in every leadership decision that you are taking, making sure that you have done your research and you have your data in place. And finally, is emotional intelligence, where the empathy side of it comes to play, where you are able to control your emotions and emotions of others, where you can dig into your heart to show mercy, to those that deserve mercy, and even those who do not deserve mercy. When you put all of this together, trust me, you will be balanced in your leadership pursuit.
Thank you so much for that explanation. Of course, I'd like to ask you this as well. Why do we have so many instances of leadership failure, especially in the workplace?
So the interesting thing is that, first thing first, a lot of people who occupy public positions are not groomed for leadership. The economy system, the educational system where we operated from, has not given us the opportunity to learn anything leadership. Most of the work we did in school was cram work, right? So did you ever learn leadership in school? Was there any effort? So people were promoted based on their technical experience. Imagine an engineer who was promoted, into leading others. Meanwhile, all he has done all his life is leading machines, talking to machines. Now he's promoted as a manager. How can he perform? Now he's going to lead with people. He has not been groomed. So the problem is that a lot of people who work for organizations do not work from the point of their leadership strength. Most people work to earn salary. And then when they meet with leaders who are not prepared, that's why there's a problem. But when you get into a system where there is a prepared leader has been promoted to become head of a department, based on his leadership knowledge, he would be able to mobilize the entire people to be able to get the type of result that he needs. Because my mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe, defined leadership as the ability to inspire, motivate, drive a group of people towards a particular direction by inspiration, not intimidation or manipulation. What it means is that the leader has the capacity to mobilize, the capacity to inspire people, the capacity to bring people, his competencies, get people attracted to him, and people follow him because they feel that this man is competent, they feel that this man has capacity, they feel that this man has the right type of emotions, or the kind of, he loves them, he's interested in their development and welfare. And so people respond and they support the man to do great things, or the woman to achieve great things, because they believe in the person. So when people believe in you as a leader, they can contribute to your success. So your job is to get people to love you and like you in the team.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I really, that is that's the key point there. Thank you so much. Like, I want to ask you this, that you agree with me that empathy is also one of our leadership competence. What's your thoughts on empathy as one of leadership competence that the leader must exhibit? What's your thoughts on?
So imagine if those who are leading this country have 90% of 100 in terms of empathy. Do you think Nigeria will be where it is today? A prince who wants to rule a kingdom must learn how to love his people, his citizens. Love becomes essential for leadership. So empathy means that you're putting yourself in the other person's shoe. A staff doesn't show up for work for a particular reason. You don't just fire the staff. First thing first, you want to ask question. What, is everything okay? Why did you? And in that process, you might realize that he has been dealing with an emergency. You see? That's the point we're talking about.
Thank you so much. So what advice are you going to give to the 16-year-old Linus Okorie? What advice are you going to give to him?
Advice is, that's the right time to find who you are. That's the right time to find yourself. That's the right time to discover yourself. That's the right time to sit down and ask God what he has put inside of you. He should help you, shape you, and help you find yourself. And secondly, once you find yourself, you must desire to go into the university and do a course that you love to do, no matter, even if the course is not a popular course, or not a famous course, or it's not a course that can give you the type of money that you're talking about. You do what you want to do. So the course that makes you happy, that's what I can say. And after that, then you can begin to focus per time on what you have to do. Give it your best option. Become excellent in that process. And by the time all is happening, you are building momentum that is needed for success.
Thank you so much, sir. Even as we round up now, I'd like to ask you this particular question. And it's basically about what you do on a consistent basis. What are the things that you do daily, weekly, for personal and self-development that has helped you thus far?
Yes, first thing first is networking. Networking. You want to rise as a leader, you must learn how to network. Networking is key. So I started early to attend conferences at every point in time, and I'm meeting people. Just so the art of meeting people, whether it's in the plane or anywhere you go to, you must always have your complimentary card. Learn how to practice networking. The second element is you must be a person with a mind to research, to read, to stretch. So I am always in that mood of learning and actually growing. And then the other element of what that is become part of me is respect for human beings, respect for people, whether poor, rich, just the fact that you value people, you put premium on people, changes things.
All right, thank you so much. This will be our last question now. Have you ever experienced a kind of failure and how do you...
I have failed many times. I've failed many times, even at personal levels.
So how did you get back on track?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is that, I see it as failing forward. Failing forward. When I fail, I rise and I move. I clean myself up. And I don't blame myself because I've experienced mind leadership. Mind leadership means I'm in charge of my mind and I take responsibility, for whatever happens to me. And I don't blame anybody. and I make my amends. And the next thing, I run again and I make some move. And that's it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity to
Yes.
have here today.
And yes, and I'm so sorry. I'm running to a meeting, basically. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. So is there anything we're working on that you want people, of course, to know about?
Oh yeah, I mean, there are so many things going on. We just launched the Godly Leadership Center. I'm excited. The former President Obasanjo just launched it. So people should go to and follow Linus Okorie, and I'm sure you get a lot of details.
All
Follow
right.
Linus Okorie and get some more results.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please go follow
And
me.
congratulations for the work you're doing.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I so
Yes,
happy to have you today on the show. So please go
yes.
follow _Linus Okorie, of course, on Instagram. It's also on LinkedIn. So for many feedback you are going to get from me. For one more question, and of course, he's into leadership. You can invite him to come and invite your to come and give solutions to leadership on your team and wherever you are. Is someone that you need to follow, and there's so much to learn from him. Thank you so much, sir, for having you today. He's so excited to have you. Thank you so much, sir. And until next time, people, this is the Talkinfluencers. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, sir.